Hi guys, it's Fred here, and in today's video I'm going to explain the step-by-step system I would use to fix my hip pain if I had to start from scratch. This is the exact 5-phase system I use with people to help them go from pain to performance. So we've got phases 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's jump straight into it. The first thing we need to understand and measure is criteria, or things to work on, measure, and improve. Because without testing, you are guessing. And this is one of the main reasons why you might be going wrong previously with rehab, where you're just guessing when you're strong enough or mobile enough or confident enough to get back to the sport or activity you want to be doing. So these are the different things we're going to be measuring and using as criteria to go between phases to make sure you're safe enough and you have the capacity, the strength, the confidence to progress into the next phase and transition smoothly through rehab. So the first thing is pain. We measure this on a scale of 0 to 10. If a 0 is no pain and 10 is the worst pain imaginable. So let's say getting hit by a bus. Then we've got range of motion, which is just the amount of degrees at a certain joint. So obviously we're looking to get that back to full range of motion, usually on the injured side versus the non-injured side. Then we've got strength. Now, we measure this in two different ways. The first way is symmetry side to side. So we'll compare the injured limb to the non-injured limb. And essentially, we're looking to decrease the gap between these two limbs. So by phase 5, we're looking to have the injured limb at 95% symmetry compared to the uninjured limb. And obviously in earlier phases, it will be slightly less, but we're obviously looking to improve this. The second way to measure strength is just like a 1 rep max, a 3 rep max, or a 5 rep max in lifts in the gym. Then we've got power. So we measure this using an app called MyJump. So we can measure jump height and we can measure a lot of other different things. Movement control. This is subjective. So I measure that with clients, and this is just looking at how they're moving. So this is looking at more functional movements such as squatting, hinging, running, change of direction, things that would put stress on the hip. And then confidence, this is self-measured by you, usually on a scale of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. So the first thing is pain, and this is the criteria I'm looking for phase 1. So essentially, we'll measure this before phase 1, and then to take off phase 1 and go into phase 2, you need to meet these criteria. It's really that simple. You've got pain response, your morning stiffness, pinching or blocking sensation, and consistency. So this is how we'd test these things. And then this is the target you need to meet to pass phase 1. So you can see for pain response, equal to or less than 2 out of 10 pain during loading, so during rehab, and none 24 hours after. Morning stiffness, equal to or less than 5 minutes. Pinch block sensation, none or equal to less than 1 out of 10. And consistency, at least 90% of your sessions are pain-free. I won't bore you with the rest of them, but it goes through all the other things. So range of motion, looking at hip flexion, internal rotation, external rotation, strength, glute strength, quad strength, hamstring strength, adductor strength, glute med strength, how you test them in the middle, and the target we're looking to hit to pass through phase 1. Power, same thing here. 3 different ones. Test, target, movement control, same thing. Confidence, same thing. So once you've ticked off all those different criteria, then you can transfer through phase 1 to phase 2. This is really important because this is numbers based and a lot of it is objective. Numbers don't lie, and this makes sure we're not guessing and you're actually safe enough to go to the different phases. This is an example of phase 1. So this is an example from a hip impingement client I was working with. So this isn't gospel. It's not going to exactly fix your hip pain, but it gives you an idea of the structure of sessions. So they completed this 3 times a week alongside some daily mobility work, but this was the main stuff they were focusing on. So they started off with some prep work, so a little bit of breathing, some pelvic tilts, so getting their hips or pelvis to roll forward and roll back nice and smoothly and relaxed, and then some hip shifting. Then motor control, and All motor control really is that bridge between mobility and strength. So it's just learning to have a bit of stability and control around the hip. Quite a lot of stuff there early on, and then some strength stuff. So some hinging, some isometrics, so holding particular positions, and then a glute bridge. Really, really simple. They did this 3 times a week. And again, they would do this until they met the criteria from phase 1, and then we pass into phase 2. So phase 2, I'm not going to bore you with the criteria. It's looking at all the same things there as we did in phase 1 to pass phase 2. Pain, range of motion, strength, power, movement, control, confidence. But obviously in phase 2, these standards would be higher. So we'd want less pain, we want more range of motion, we want more strength, more power, more movement control, and more confidence. And then we can pass into phase 3. So example of how phase 2 is structured. We'd have different sessions on the 3 training days within the week to kind of broaden the focus a little bit. So we got prep, same structure, motor control, and then strength. What you'll notice here, especially in the strength stuff, it's just getting a little bit more advanced and it's challenging your hip a little bit more. So we're introducing some lateral squats, some single leg glute bridges, and an isometric lunge, but with some med ball throws. And you'll notice here, like on day 2, it's just a slightly different stimulus and focus. So it's a little bit more lateral work with some Copenhagen, stuff like that in the motor control. And then just slightly, again, slightly different focus in the strength stuff. Same thing on day 3. You might look at this and think, oh, this isn't a lot of work. And realistically, it's actually not. Each of these sessions probably is only going to take you half an hour to 45 minutes to complete. If you're doing it well, alongside a little bit of daily mobility and making sure you're hitting the basics correctly in terms of load management and not doing other activities that are flaring up the hip, sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night, eating well, and managing stress well. It's really that simple. Then you go through phase 2 until you tick off phase 2 criteria, and then you pass into phase 3. Now, I've put phase 3 and phase 4 together because they're very, very similar. So this is, again, an example from phase 3. What we've started to introduce now is some jumping or plyometrics, bounding. As we go from phase 1 to phase 5, we're looking to gradually increase the difficulty of mobility, strength, speed work so that you're ready and prepared to handle the demands of the sport activity you want to get back to. So you'll see here in phases 3 on this first day, you've got prep work, you've got motor control, but then when you've got some plyometrics before your strength work. You'll have a bit less strength work to accommodate for the plyometrics. Again, nothing complex. We obviously haven't added this in phase 1 because we need to gradually expose you to more and more speed work. Nothing too complex there. A few pogos, curtsy to a jump. Day 2, same structure, just slightly different stimulus. Again, prep, motor control, elastic prep. Again, just plyometrics, jumping, getting you ready for that, and then some strength work. Day 3, exactly the same, just a slightly different stimulus. 3 exercises for prep, 3 for motor control, 3 for plyometrics, and then 3 for strength work. Then you meet the criteria for phases 3. Then you go into phase 4, meet it for phase 4, and then we go into phase 5. Phase 5 is a little bit different from all the other phases because it is a bit more sport specific. So now what we're doing is we're gradually increasing the amount of exposure you have to that sport activity. And we're including like specific work. So specific movement patterns or specific demands of that sport. So I've used an example here of a CrossFitter and what day 1 might look like in phase 5. So you can see the prep is the usual stuff, hip work, breathing, getting everything loose, ready. Then you got a bit of plyometrics, and then you have some very typical CrossFit type stuff. Now, obviously, CrossFit involves, if you don't know, gymnastics, conditioning, and weightlifting, a lot of it under fatigue. So to start with, we've got some weightlifting, clean plus a front squat complex, then a front squat with a bit of tempo, then a single leg glute bridge as an accessory piece, and then some conditioning. So every minute on the minute for 10 minutes, 1 power clean at 70% plus 8 wall balls. So this is training the person who's wanting to get back to CrossFit, training their hip to handle the sport-specific demand of that. They've built up general strength capacity and mobility from phases 1 to 4, and now we're just making sure that they can handle that within their sport so they can hit the ground running once they finish rehab. I've got another example here of jiu-jitsu, so just something slightly different. if you don't know, jiu-jitsu is a little bit like wrestling, but on the floor, pretty much. So prep / motor control, bit of pogos as reactive prep, and then all this is jiu-jitsu type stuff. So it's just, excuse me, jiu-jitsu type positions in a format where we've got just 4x3 and then 3 sets of 45-second rounds at 70% tempo, and then a bit of strength accessories again. That's it. It's really that simple. And then the phase 5 criteria will be the same things we're measuring in phases 1 to 4 in terms of pain, range of motion, strength, power, movement control, and confidence. But added in, especially in the movement control and confidence bit, will be sport specific stuff. For example, in CrossFit, are you confident doing X, Y, and Z with your hip? So it could be something very similar to this. Are you confident doing a certain volume with power cleans, wall balls, where we're testing the hip? Jiu-jitsu, same thing. Football, rugby, same thing. Rugby might be change direction. It might be how confident are you in taking contact, doing drills and training. And then we're starting to introduce a little bit of more game-based scenarios as well with field athletes, stuff like that. And then once you've ticked off that, you're back to training or the activity, and you've done rehab. Really that simple. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you are interested in working with me, just check out the top link down below. Or if you want 33 ways to reduce your pain, improve your mobility, and improve your confidence, check out the second link down below. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.